Welcome to my virtual yoga studio. For those who are new to my classes, today we're going to do a Yin Yang yoga class. So for those who are new to Yin Yoga, it's a very different style of yoga. So today we're going to blend two types of yoga. Yang, which is usually the more hatha vinyasa style, heat creating yoga, and then Yin, which is a much more grounding, slower paced, passive yoga class. These are one of my favorite classes to teach and practice. I find them very juicy. You really get to create heat in the body and then take advantage of that heat to really cool down, go into deep stretches, into a meditative state. So I hope you enjoy. We're actually going to get right into it. So we're going to get started in the front of the mat. So we're going to start with a Yang, so creating that heat, and we'll end with a Yin. So we're going to start with our feet around hip width apart, finding a grounding stance, so feeling the weight of the body distributed quite evenly throughout the feet, not just in the heels or not just in the toes. And just beginning to take a couple deep breaths to settle before we get started into a dynamic flow. Maybe closing our eyes, letting our mind slow down, settle into this space, into our mat. And slowly beginning to open our eyes, keeping our breath into that fluid, slow, deep pace. We're going to inhale, arms up. And on the exhale, arms down. Two more just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. On the next inhale, you're going to lift your arms up. And on the exhale, you're going to bend your elbows and coming into a cactus pose in the upper body. Inhale up. Exhale, cactus. Really feeling as the part of the upper back is flattening and lengthening down. So those wing bones, scapulas, are laying flat onto the back as we bend our arms. Continue at your own pace. As you continue, you'll feel the upper back, the shoulders beginning to activate and maybe even burn with a slow, mindful movement. Last one, and we're going to all meet with our arms up towards the ceiling. On the next exhale, we're going to twist, doing the same bend with the elbows, but with a twist. Both hip bones are facing forward and come back through center. Other side as you exhale, twist, and come back through center. Two more on each side. By now you should be feeling your shoulders. Last one on each side. Really feeling the twist in the mid-back. And last one. We'll meet through center, arms up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And on the next exhale, lower your hands down by your side. Inhale, arms up. On the exhale, fold forward, reaching for the mat with both hands. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees as you need. We're just getting started. Inhale, come all the way up to standing flat back. Just like that, one more time. Half sun salutations. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, reach for the mat with both hands. Bend the knees as you need. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold forward and come all the way back up with a flat, strong back to standing and hands in front of the heart. We'll continue with full sun salutations, 3 sun A's. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet. Step back into plank pose. Either knees on the mat or not, lower halfway, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths in the down dog. We'll stay here for a sec. Feel free to do any movement that feels right. Maybe bend the knees, sway the hips from one side to the other. And on the next breath, we'll meet in a steady down dog, bending your knees, looking forward, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, hands in front of the heart. Just like that, 2 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, plant the hands next to the feet, step or hop back, plank or chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Feel free to do it at your own pace, modify as you need to as we get started and warming up the body. 3 breaths. Returning to that breath that we first started with, maybe closing your eye. Finding a long spine. And bend your knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, and come all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet, step or hop back, plank or directly into chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Finding the length through the spine as your hands push away from the mat and the sits bones reach up towards the ceiling. So we're not rounding that upper back, that low back. And bend your knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. We'll continue with a sun A, and we'll meet in down dog. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet, step or hop back, plank or chaturanga. Upward facing dog, strong legs, downward facing dog. Feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. And we're going to shift forward back into plank. Finding a long spine, collarbones are smiling, heels are energized, pushing back, and tailbone lengthens towards the heels. We're going to hold here in plank for 3 more breaths. Feel the belly button in and up so the hips are not dipping down. They're not piked up either. They're in a neutral position. Hold and shift up into downward facing dog. On the next inhale, plank pose. And now in a dynamic way, on the exhale, down dog. Just like that, 5 more at your own pace. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, down dog. Finding a good plank and a good down dog. Don't just rush through them. Last 2. And we'll meet in a down dog. And from down dog, we'll shift one more time through plank. We're going to lower all the way down into our belly through chaturanga. Not letting the hips sink, lowering all the way down. Belly down. Interlacing your hands behind your back. Shoulders roll back. Long arms. We're going to inhale, pressing through the big toes against the mat. Lift just the upper body. Crown of the head lengthens. The hands reach back, opening the shoulders and the chest. Long spine, tailbone reaches back and lower. Next time, everything lifts. Inhale, lifting the chest, lifting the legs. Imagine you have a block between your thighs, and your thighs can't come wider apart than hip width. Hold, breathe, separating your toes, feeling the backs of your legs active, and lower. Letting go of your hands, lengthening your arms forward, straight arms next to all the way up. Same thing, imagine you have a block between your hands as well this time. Your arms cannot splurge out. Breathe. Lengthen the low back and lower, planting the hands next to your chest, pushing yourself back, child's pose. Stay in child's pose, taking a deep breath. We're going to continue in just a second, so take advantage of this breather. And place your toes, shift your hips up, downward facing dog. Finding a long back, heels reaching down. And bring the right knee in towards the nose, placing the foot between your hands, coming into runner's lunge. Taking your arms back along your legs, lifting the heart up, lifting the torso around 30 degrees, so we're not completely up. It's like the torso is in the same line as the back leg. Hold here and come all the way up, crescent lunge. Arms reach up, hands facing each other, bending the back knee slightly, lowering the front leg almost parallel to the mat. And same thing, we're going to lower 30 degrees, keeping our arms next to our ears. Long spine. Keep the bend in the leg. Keep the torso long. Hold one more breath. And lower your hands onto the mat. Keeping the left hand onto the mat, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Twisting the torso, reaching the right hip crease back. Hold here. Now, we're going to take the right leg in front of our hips, coming onto the side of the left foot. So a modified side plank. Right foot comes in front of our hips. And now in a dynamic way, as we inhale, we're going to lift, and the exhale, we're going to lower the hips down, reach the hand towards the foot. And on the inhale, we lift the hips, reach the arm overhead. Just like that, 3 more. Lowering. And lifting, pushing, lifting those hips up as high as you can. Last 2. Feeling those outer hips doing a lot of work. Last one. And we'll stay up here, reaching the arm up overhead. And place the hand back down, come through plank pose. Go through your vinyasa, bending the elbows, elbows tucked in. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Remember, feel free to place your knees through your chaturangas. Other side, bring the left foot in towards the nose, placing the foot between your hands. Reaching both arms back towards the back foot, lift the torso 30 degrees. Long spine, imagine the crown of the head, we're pulling you forward. Left hip crease pulls back. 2 more breaths. And lengthen the arms up, lift the torso, crescent lunge. Finding squared hips, both facing forward, bending the back knee just slightly. And now keeping your arms where they are, we're going to tilt the torso 30 degrees. Keeping the front leg bent, 3 breaths here. Long spine. There's 1 line of energy from the back heel to the hands. And lower your hands down, runner's lunge. Keeping the right hand where it is, reaching the left arm up, twist. Open towards the left. Left hip crease reaches back. Hold here. Now stepping the left foot in front of the left hip, coming into this modified side plank. Dynamic. On the exhale, we lower the hand, lower the hips. Inhale, reach the arm overhead, lift the hips up. 3 more. Last 2. And on the last one, we'll stay up here, reaching the arm overhead, lifting the hips, and plant the hand down, plank pose. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, and release everything through the mouth. On the next exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, coming all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Utkatasana chair pose, dropping the hips, bending the knees. Long spine, we're not laying onto the thighs. Reaching the arms up, 3 more breaths. Lower a little further if you can. Knees are behind the toes. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands next to the feet, step or hop back, plank or chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Strong legs, knees lift. Downward facing dog. Right knee comes into the nose, placing the foot between your hands, lowering the back heel for warrior 1. So the foot is at a diagonal facing forward. Inhale, arms up, torso long. Left hip is trying to see towards the front of the mat. Inhale, and lower your hands down. Step it back, plank pose. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Other side. Bringing the left knee into the nose, planting the foot between your hands. Warrior 1 on the left side. Belly button in and up. Inhale, and lower your hands down. Step back, plank pose. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Return to the breath. Let's give it our all for these 30 minutes of heat creating flow to then really get the most out of the yin deep passive stretches. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Come back, Utkatasana chair pose. Knees shift back, long spine. Inhale, and on the exhale, lengthen the legs, hands. So now from here, we're going to begin to bend our knees, coming into a kneeling position. If you want to try to keep your heels down and kind of challenge yourself to lower without lifting your heels, go for it. If not, just come into a kneeling position, whichever way you can. Now from here, you're going to lower your sits bones onto the ground, lifting the legs, coming into Navasana. Holding here for a couple more breaths. We're going to come from here into a dynamic core exercise from Navasana, lengthening the legs forward, lowering the torso, Ardha Navasana, and come back up. Navasana, Ardha Navasana. 4 more just like that. Follow the rhythm of your breath. Don't hold your breath. Last one. Coming back through Navasana. We're going to come back through Ardha Navasana and hold here. 2, 1, and release everything onto the mat. Lengthening your legs up towards the ceiling. There's no heat without core, so we're going to begin We're going to do some core exercises. Doesn't matter if your legs are straight or not. The straighter, the better, I guess, but it's okay if they're bent. We're going to reach our arms up towards our toes, and we're going to try to touch our toes with our hands by lifting our chest and our tailbone. Lift and lower. It's a slight movement, but if done intentionally and right, you'll feel that core burning. We're going to do 7 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Try not to over tense the neck. Continue at your own pace. Last one. Lift, reach, 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 hold. Tailbone lifting, chest lifting, and lower. Release your hands, release the shoulders. Arms next to the torso. Keeping your legs long, either legs together or one leg at a time, depending on how intense it feels. You're going to lower your legs to hover over the mat. Wherever you reach, make sure that your low back is not overarching. The belly button is pushing down towards the mat. 6 more. Slowly, the same pace as you lower, as you lift and lift. 3 more. Last 2. And give yourself a big hug once you lift up. Knees into the chest. Massage the low back. And rock and roll back and forth all the way to seated, planting the hands in front of your legs, taking 1 foot at a time back or hopping back into plank pose, meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up, reaching the knee towards the right elbow. Lift, 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 open the hip and lengthen back. On the next inhale, reach the right knee towards the left elbow. Don't let the hips drop. Lift that leg, push the floor away, and lengthen back. Inhale, reach the knee towards the nose, push the floor away, lift that leg, and place the foot as smoothly as possible between your hands. Placing the back heel down, lengthen the torso up, warrior 1. Reaching the torso up. Inhale, and on the exhale, open up, warrior 2. Back foot is now almost parallel to the back of the mat. Shoulders over the hips. Hold here. Walking the left hand along the left leg, reaching the right arm back. And windmill your hands down. Popping the back heel up. Step back, plank pose. Feel free to skip these vinyasas whenever you feel like they're getting sloppy or you're just not feeling them. We'll meet in down dog. Lifting the left leg up. Reaching the left knee towards the left elbow. Opening the hip, lifting that leg. Hold, don't let the hips drop, and lengthen back. Left knee towards the right elbow, crossing over. Don't let the leg drop or the hips. Hold, push the floor away, and lengthen back. Left knee towards the nose, pushing the hands away from the mat, arching the upper back, not letting the leg drop, and place the foot as smoothly as possible between your hands. Lowering the back heel down for warrior 1, lift the torso up. Both shoulders are facing forward. Right hip is trying to look forward. And now on the exhale, open up, warrior 2. Opening the left leg, looking forward, hold. If I were to push against your hands, there would be resistance because you have a strong upper back supporting the arms. And and walk the right hand back. Revolve the warrior, lengthen the left arm back. Windmill the hands down, popping the back heel up. Step back, plank pose. Go through your vinyasa or meet in down dog. We're almost there. Let's give it all these last few standing poses. Right knee into the nose, placing the foot between your hands. Lift it up, crescent lunge, bending the back knee slightly to really find squared hips and stability. Long arms. And now we're going to shift. We're going to move in a dynamic way. If you lose balance, it's fine. Just hop back into it. We're going to shift the weight towards the front leg as our arms are lengthened. And bring the left knee into the chest, lowering the arms next to the legs. And we're going to do that 3 times. Shifting back, slowly with control. And bringing the left knee into the chest. Last one, lengthen back. And slowly bringing the left knee into the chest. From here, I don't have much space, keeping the knee high up into the chest, either bringing our hands in front of our heart or next to our ears. We're going to lengthen the left leg back, coming into warrior 3. Both hips are facing down and are squared. Maybe the standing leg is a little bent to really find stability in the outer hips. Back heel is pushing back. And lower the back leg, warrior 1. Inhale. And lower the hands down. Step it back, plank pose. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Other side, bringing the left knee into the nose. Placing the foot between your hands, lifting up, crescent lunge. Both knees are bent, really finding stability and grounding into the mat. Long arms. Inhale, bringing the right knee into the chest. Exhale, step it back, crescent lunge. Inhale, knee into the chest. Exhale, step it back. Last one, inhale. Exhale, step it back, crescent lunge. Sorry, last one. Knee into the chest, hold here. Keeping the knee high up, outer hip strong, hands in front of the heart, hands next to the ears, arms next to the ears, and pushing back the right heel, coming into warrior 3. It's okay if you lose balance, just hop back into it, it's part of it. Outer hips are squeezing into the midline, back heel is pushing back. The flying leg is straight, maybe the standing leg is a little bent, and slowly, warrior 1. Lowering your hands down, stepping it back, plank pose, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. We're almost there to my personal favorite part of the class. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold, and come all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Last bit of standing, and we'll get on to the yin part of class. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Nothing more heat creating than chair pose. We're going to bring our hands in front of our heart and twist over towards the right. Hooking the left elbow outside of the right thigh. Both knees are together. The left is not in front of the right. We're going to begin to shift the weight towards the right foot, looking down onto the mat to find a still focal point. And lift the left heel up. Slowly hold here. Lengthening the flying leg back, placing the foot towards the back of the mat. Keeping the twist. Maybe opening your arms if it's available. If not, keep the prayer. And now from here, we're going to lift the torso up, revolving our arms into warrior 2. Right arm forward, left arm back, warrior 2. Inhale. Exhale, windmill the hands down, popping the back heel up, step back, plank pose. Chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Inhale. On the exhale, bend the knees, look forward, step or hop towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold, coming all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Last side. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Lowering those hips. If we look down, we can see our toes. Bring our hands in front of our heart, twisting over towards the left, making sure both knees are in the same height. Elbow is outside of the left thigh. Slowly shifting the weight towards the left foot, lifting the right heel towards the glute. Keeping a steady focal point. It's okay if you shake. And slowly lengthen the right leg back, coming into this revolved crescent lunge. Maybe opening your arms if it's available. Strong, long torso, crown of the head is lengthening forward. And now lifting the torso up, doing this dance thing, revolving the arms to come into warrior two. Left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale. And on the exhale, windmill your hands down. Step it back, plank pose. We'll meet in down dog. We'll start the yin part of class, where we'll get all the reward for what we just did. We'll start by separating our feet a little wider than hip width, maybe mat width apart, walking our hands back, keeping the weight heavy onto our feet, grabbing opposite elbows, releasing everything through the crown of the head. Coming into ragdoll. Make sure that you're not tightening the sides of the neck, the shoulders, but you're releasing everything heavy. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need. It's characterized by passive movement, so possible. Closing your eyes, feeling that release through the head, through the upper body. Slowly releasing the hands, knees. Our feet will probably come out towards the sides, which is good because we want to keep them in the same direction as the knee to protect the knees. If this feels very tight for us, it might be nice to place a towel under our heels. And yes, from here, for those who have done Malasana yogi squat normally, the yin version, we're going to release everything between our legs. Hands forward, head heavy, and just let yourself melt into your Malasana. Another way to describe the quality of these poses of yin, it's almost like you're looking for a quality of shavasana in all these poses. That stillness in the body, trying not to fidget and move, bringing stillness into the mind. The breath coming to its own natural rhythm and pace. And just completely melting into the poses. Again, if this is a lot, usually the longer we hold it, the more it goes transforming with time. So you can put a towel under your heels or a block. You want to feel comfortable and held. And slowly coming back up. We're going to walk our hands forward, meeting in a very brief down dog, just to transition into the next pose. Bringing our feet hip-width apart. Try to make each transition as gentle as possible. It's almost as if it were part of the yin practice, of the yin poses. We're going to bring the right knee forward, the right shin forward, coming into pigeon pose, opening the hip, lengthening the left leg back. So because we do hold these poses a little longer, we want to feel a little less to that extreme point of stretch, because the pose will transform with time and it'll get deeper with time. So maybe it's nice to place a towel under your hip so you don't feel like you're very deep into the pose. If not, finding squared hips, just release everything onto the ground and let the body do its thing. So don't, if your hips open slightly, let them open, trying to not control so much what's going on or what your body's wanting to do. Staying here for a couple more moments. Sometimes the hardest part about yin is not necessarily keeping these deep stretches for so long, but it is staying with the discomfort of the mind, or the movement of the mind. And look at it as that is a part of the practice, part of the challenge of the practice. Slowly coming back up. We're going to swing the left leg forward, keeping the right leg bent. The right foot inside of the left leg, keeping the body soft. Trying again to maintain this softness, this effortlessness throughout the whole part of the class. We're going to shift the weight towards the left leg and just melt over the leg. It doesn't matter if your spine bends or arches. Just don't push yourself any further and let your body do its thing. Another way to do this, if you have bolsters or pillows, melt over bolsters or pillows. Again, releasing the sides of the neck, the head, shoulders, letting them do their own thing. The body is wiser. Usually if we're not forcing ourselves into anything, we're not going to hurt ourselves. And coming back up, we're going to take the right leg that's bent over the left, aligning the knees. Feel free to stay here. If you feel like you're very open in the outer hips, you can bend the bottom leg as well, coming into a gomukhasana legs. And once again, letting yourself melt over. Either bringing your attention to your breath if you're beginning to become a little fidgety in the mind, a little restless. Use your anchor, the anchor of the breath, to let you focus and not become so restless through the mind. Through the Indians, the Hindus call the monkey mind. And coming back up. Finding your way into a brief down dog just to come into pigeon pose on the other side. Maybe you don't even have to come into a full down dog, bringing the left leg forward, right leg back. Trying to find a comfortable, maybe a little less deep than usual pigeon pose, and fold over. Maybe making a pillow with your hands, resting completely onto the ground. And slowly keeping the body heavy, pushing yourself back up, swinging the right leg forward, bringing the left foot inside of the right leg, and folding over the right leg. Just let yourself melt over with little effort. Usually we try to find a long spine. Here we let the body do its thing. We just feel the weight of the body do the opening. And we feel as the longer we hold it, the deeper the body begins to release that tension deep inside our connective tissue. And slowly coming back up, once again aligning knee to knee, bringing the left knee over the right. If this is where you want to stay, feel free to stay here. If not, you can come into Gomukhasana legs. Knees are aligned, heels sort of coming into the outer hips, and we'll fold over our legs. Important to not tense the sides of the neck or the shoulders as we fold over. We feel the weight of the head just hanging heavy wherever we are. And coming back up. We're going to unwind our legs, placing our hands in front of us, coming into our bellies, belly down. We're going to place our forearms onto the mat, bending the elbows, coming into Sphinx pose. Feel free to do this as deep as you want. Maybe elbows are more tucked in, maybe they're a little more out. And again, do what feels best with the head. Maybe it's just release it down. Maybe it's to do a little effort lengthening it up. And we'll hold here for a couple breaths. Deep breaths of it. You're using it as an anchor. You can deepen the breaths, concentrating on each inhale and exhale. And slowly lowering down, placing our hands next to our chest. We're going to push ourselves back into child's pose. Feel free to do whatever version of child's pose feels right for you. Maybe knees apart, maybe together. Arms hug, so you're a little more lifted. Walking your hands back and coming into sort of kneeling position, just to swing your legs forward. Bending the knees around mat width or a little wider than hip width. Hands and neck behind the torso. We're going to let the knees fall over towards the right. And in that same direction where our knees are facing, we're going to look behind us, planting both hands behind us. This might be enough for us right now, or we might want to lower onto the forearms, or if we have a bolster, hug the bolster. Whatever feels right. Holding here for a couple breaths. And slowly coming back through center, taking the knees over towards the other side, letting them gently release down to the mat, looking over behind us in the same direction as the knees are facing, and either staying here on our hands, feeling the twist in the spine, or lowering onto our forearms. And pushing ourselves back up, coming onto our backs. If you're near a wall and you can use it to put your legs up, feel free to do so. If not, no worries. We'll accommodate without it. So if you're near a wall, you might just want to come close, bring your tush close to the wall, placing your legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall, as I don't, you can just lengthen your legs up with a soft bend in the knee. And if you feel like this is too much effort, you can even bend the knees and just keep the knees over the hips. Some sort of inversion to kind of release any tension, reverse the blood flow a bit. Good for circulation. And begin to come into that soft state of complete relax, body and mind, preparing for Shavasana. Wherever you are, feel free to stay there or find your way into Shavasana. Keeping that same melting,
sort of sensation through the body as the body remains heavy, the body remains steady and still, coming into Shavasana. Feel free to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you want. But I will say goodbye here. Thank you for your time, for your energy. Namaste.